Hey everybody, today we're going to start a new video. I started it yesterday actually, I just didn't have the camera with me, so I'm going to do a quick walk around of what we're going to be doing. We basically got to we're originally going to put a ramp in to get these boats down back for winter storage. And there's a right of way on the right side of this lot. And basically they got the okay to redo that, and we're going to try to. The property line goes down through the middle of the roadway that's there, so we're going to try to, I got to dig out a big rock retaining wall and see if we can gain 6 feet. They basically wanted enough so later on, if a new owner owns that property, they don't get an issue. They want to be able to get a boat up through there, which is basically 8 feet wide. So I'm going to try to give them 11 or 12 feet. The very back of it's a real tall rock wall that retains a lot of dirt. I really don't want to get into that, but up front it's kind of some big rocks just got thrown there, so we'll take a quick peek. Right here, when they surveyed it, these red lines show that's the edge. So we're going to probably take out this small, just that retains that hot top. We're going to roll the gravel up to it. The pathway that's here is kind of beat up. Another red line that shows, but we're going to try to go from that red line 12 feet into that bank. So I got to take out some small trees, maybe those two bigger ones. I don't want them if I don't have to, but we're going to grub all this out, and you can't hardly see it, but behind there is a retaining wall. If you look in there, you can see the boulders. About right here, I'm going to stop. I don't, right here they own enough of this, so I just got to grub the trees. There's some big boulders down on that corner because they stepped down a wall. So this small wall here, I don't even think I'm going to have to get into this because the property line goes in an angle, so the bottom of this, it's going to be an apron here. But this tall wall, I don't really want to get involved with taking that out and moving it back. I don't think I'm going to have to, like I said. I'm going to try to find the pin to make sure, but the owner was here yesterday and seems to think the bottom, and it does look like by the spray paint, the surveyor, that it does come down in an angle. So this is one of the things we got to do. We also got to take that whole big flat area down there and put all new gravel, grub it out. They want to be able to do winter boat storage, possibly even put a building down there later on. But over here is where we're trying to get the water to run to the edge. This is a state road. When they redid the road, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years ago, they redid this culvert. I believe this culvert used to come out, and it was before this lot was filled in, so it was no big deal. The previous owner before this new business, I think, filled this in a lot more, so I think they just filled up to it and left this little gully. Well, this year we're having heavy rains, and it's kind of like tore out the building. Went right up against the building at one point, but I straightened it out a little bit with the tractor, but you can still see there's some pretty good, what I call diggers, went right through the good material down into the bank run in a couple different spots. Like I said, this is their sales area. So we basically got to figure out how to get that. Someone started doing something here. I believe the company before this guy owned it was a landscape company. I think that's where they just kept filling in to get a flat area to put equipment on. I think they started doing this retaining wall, and we're going to run it to the outside of the property. Problem is this ledge, which I ran into yesterday, is just it kept them from that ledge. I've dug as deep as I can in that corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it around this ledge, and then over there it drops off enough so the water's going to run. So I'm going to basically go down the property line. That you can't tell now, but all around that ledge was trees. but we're gonna grub out a little bit here and basically go down through. I just set these trees that I dug out yesterday. They're gonna go down over the hill. This is all stuff I dug out from that corner yesterday. That's much higher. Like I said, I think the guy was digging that to do a decent ditch line for the water runoff, and then ran into that ledge and stopped. So I'm gonna finish that. This fill here was here when they bought the property. So the original plan was we were gonna put a ramp down here, which price-wise was gonna be, you know, pretty impressive amount of money to get a hill off from this that way they can come up through with a boat and truck. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take this gravel pile that's here and make it disappear here. This is going to be the top layer. They just want to be able to put a couple boat trailers over in this corner, so it doesn't have to be real fussy. But down there is the we're gonna, once we get done up here, we're going down there, and I'm gonna take my grader, scrape all that top off. I did look, it does look like it's all bank run gravel. I think it's stuff that the landscape company that was here for like 8 years hauled in. So I might run into some, you know, bad areas of fill, but we're gonna look at it, and I'm gonna coat it with probably 6 or 8 inches of good 3/4 processed gravel, so that they have a decent area to park the boats on in the winter. It's not like it's gonna get hot top, but it's got to be solid enough so it doesn't get soft. They have a lot of runoff from this lot next door that's pitched this way and comes down through, so I think we're going to end up doing the same thing down there, doing a ditch line to get it to run out into that. They own, I believe, 150 feet beyond that tree line, so we're going to try to get all the water to go there, and then after that I believe that's conservation land, which is good. So like I said, this is the project we're going to be working on probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to try to stay right on it. I finished up all my loose ends. Started having material brought up yesterday. This is what we call in New Hampshire, this is small erosion stone, which is 3 to 5 inch. And the bigger erosion stone I use is 5 to 8 inch. I just think this works better. It's easier to shape. So like I said, this is the project we're going to be working on, and we'll get to it. I brought my loader with me today because nothing beats moving material. I had a skid steer up here yesterday that I had that I was trying out. I'm a loader guy. So, and like I said, as far as moving material, you can't beat these. Some of these trees, stump and all. If I had more time, I'd save the ones that, this is probably big enough for firewood, but this is something that got added to the job, so I really ain't got time to mess with it. Most of it's scrub brush anyways. They hired another guy. I did some work for these guys before, and they had already hired someone to do this. Something happened. He came to work one day, and then they ended up calling me back. Another one of those deals where I think his price was better than mine, but didn't show up when he was supposed to show up. Whatever else, I don't know the whole story. But there's a reason they hired me. That's how I look at it. Originally I said I couldn't get here, and I think even though I have a little more money than the other guy, but I was honest and said, hey, there's no way I'm going to get there in that time period. So another thing I don't like doing, but I'm being told to do it, is to get rid of the brush down this corner. Chip it, and the sad part is I could actually use the wood chips to retain some of this hillside. water to it, it's not going to stay there, so I'm going to have to do some pretty good erosion stone work. Where up front's pretty bony gravel, but it's all stuff that got hauled in. I'd like to get this pretty far along the way today, as far as this drainage goes, because they're talking rain all day. Then I think they are talking decent weather for like a week, so that'll give me next week to kind of rock and roll with things here. Over in this corner is where I'm getting rid of all this crap, because they just want this smooth enough to put a couple boat trailers. Like I said, I got to get a little fussier down bottom what I'm doing, but it doesn't take long though. A load of erosion stone right now is basically $500 for a triaxle load in this part of New Hampshire. You know, and a lot of this ditching, like if I'm going to do it, I do it right, which is a lot of erosion stone. So it's not cheap. Like I said, the price I give sometimes people don't like, but you got to be careful too, because even though I'm getting paid to do this from a customer, this later on becomes a water issue for someone else. They'll go after whoever like did it, basically. You know, that's when the guy that hired you will play dumb. So when it comes to water runoff, I try to do it to where I feel pretty safe leaving it when I leave the job site. By the end of today, I'd like to have this whole pile of mixed gravel over the bank, and this ditch line at least roughed in. I'm only taking out a couple more bushes here, and then the rest I'm going to leave because it's the privacy barrier between this and the other business. So I think this is up there. There's no way I could have pulled those down through. This one's hanging out of the wood line, so I'm just going to try to pull it out. I'm thinking I can probably pull those down through here with that loader and not really get too concerned about getting bound up in anything. That up a little bit with the bucket of this, and then I'm going to see if I can just doze down through. Down here is low enough, the elevation changes, the water's going to run. I've only got to get fussy, probably 20 feet from that rock wall, and then the water's going to take off. Another reason I don't want to get into this bank any further is there's poison sumac here, and I get poison ivy. I already got it this year once, but poison sumac, I've actually had that take me out of work for 3 days. He'll be happy though. His biggest thing is he didn't want to lose parking lot, and if anything, he probably gained a couple feet. Teasing and lot of money here, but I don't dare leave it. You're gonna try to divert water, you gotta give it a safe place. About 10 feet through this wood line is a hell of a valley that takes most of the water. This is just going to be that one culvert that comes across, so, which is basically, I think, a 16 concrete 16-inch culvert. So, which if it's running full, it's quite a bit of water. I don't think that happens too often. Get rid of this sumac tree. This damn thing just broke the mirror on my loader. That ditch started. Like I said, this was kind of a add-on thing, but I'm gonna leave that berm. I'm just gonna put some erosion stone over it. I'll shape it a little bit before I do that, but that pile of crap's gone. He wants to be able to park over here. This is pretty sandy stuff. Probably put some gravel over here, Monday. This is Friday. I'm calling it quits today. This is this road in front of me. It's a pretty major road up here, so if I don't get out of here early, I won't get out of here. So I want to getting out of here with a trailer is going to be interesting, but I basically just left that berm the way it is, and I think it looks all right going down. Like when you're looking up from that bottom lot, it's going to look all right once it, he may want to put some shrubs in it or something to make it look a little nicer where they're going to have all their boats up here. But that one back there, I'm probably just going to tamp down, make a flat edge. But that should, I threw a bunch of organic crap in there that should green right up again. This pile of stuff here was from the landscaper. You'll see there's a bunch of granite in it. There's a bunch of different type pavers in it, just making it disappear. Originally we were going to be throwing it down in there to get that ramp, but I just tried to make it disappear and make it look half decent. So once we do the parking lot, I think I'm actually going to bring my MX 6000 or the 2501 with the grader box on it just to get this leveled up. But I might actually use the 2501 for what I got to do up here. But they're bringing 5 more loads of that road pack Monday, so they'll have plenty of material up here. Then we'll move on to the next stage. But this is probably going to be a day more than I thought it was going to be as far as doing this for them, but I didn't give them a price, which is good. So it took me a little long. It was hard digging up there. Just like I said, they filled this in with whatever they had, so broken up ledge. All right, we'll get back to it. Yeah.
Rock.
Bony.
Right.
It gets better about halfway down though, so I should be able to put a swale in pretty easy. This upper corner is going to be a pain in the butt. I'll try to do something to make that look somewhat decent to look at. So you'll think I knew what I was doing when I'm done. I just bought this thing yesterday. point we're gonna start. This where this boat's sitting, this apron's gonna come down. This road's basically gonna move from where my tractor is. Clearing out some of these trees in this right side. We gotta try to get that driveway tucked in there a little further. What that hope is. Sumac trees in here, and one I'm very I break out just about looking at the damn thing. So this one here isn't, they say it ain't poisonous, but if I cut that, I can touch it, but if I cut it and the liquid gets on me, I break out just like I got poison ivy or something. Kind of weird. It's the type that's got a red flower to it, but I know I've done it enough years, I know what gives it to me and don't, and it does. I've actually had jobs that I didn't do because there was so much sumac there. Customers like, seriously? I'm like, yeah. Doesn't do you any good to work there if you're out of work for 3 days. And I've actually had poison ivy or poison oak to the point where I had to take 3 or 4 days off. Someone did a pretty nice retaining wall in this bottom corner. The rest of it's kind of just thrown together, but I noticed there's even some mortar in it in a couple places, so they must have been a little concerned about it staying together. But a lot of room for error when you're retaining that type of material. You know, there's hundreds of yards behind that. See if I can pinch that all up. I got the chip now, but there's so much sumac here, I don't even want to deal with chipping it. Their fine would be throwing it down over the back of this anyways, because they own all the wood line behind it. And the last 2 or 3 people that work here is pretty much what they did. This bottom parking lot is basically going to be for winter boat storage, so they want it to be solid to drive on. They don't really care about the boats down here. This corner I'm in right now, it seems like someone really used it as a dump site though. There's a mixture of everything down here. Bricks, block, rock, wood chips. Noisy and busy for me, but you could have your business up front and have a very nice home back here and no one would even know it. Alright, I'm going to call it a day for today. Get some gravel and stone for tomorrow. Got more coming Thursday. Got most of the big trees taken out of here. I'm gonna grub the. I wasn't gonna go that far in, but I think I'm weakening the root system. They kind of chase down in where I'm digging out, so I'm just gonna kill them anyway. So I'm gonna take anything I think I'm killing by the root system being yanked out. I'm gonna just pull. So probably those 2 birches, and I think that other one's a gray birch, but those 3, probably a couple more of these white birches can come out. I don't think it's going to be a bad idea. I'm going to run it by him about yanking some of those birches out anyway, just so the stump doesn't get any bigger and push out on that rock wall, because that's retaining some serious material that could get loose, especially with the storms we've been having this year. But getting rid of it down in that back corner. But just figured I'd show where we're at. This is day 3. So it's got a couple days of stuff to do before more material gets here. But I'd like to start putting the material right where it belongs rather than having maybe even tailgate it out. But that's the red line at the survey, but that's their outside line. So I'm gonna have to move that boat tomorrow and start doing an apron off that, and then over there I'll grub out that little pine and whatever else is there. I'm probably going to take all this rock and boulders and start retaining it and work my way down. I think I'm going to rip part of that wall. They don't seem to think I need to, but I think that little kick out there has got to come apart. I think I'm going to dig it out. I'm going to put them aside, dig that bank out, and then put them back in. I think gaining that 2 or 3 feet is going to be all we need to have a good 12-foot path up through here. Like I said, I'll take a few more of those out. I'm going to leave the other birches and stuff up there because I want it to retain that edge. So tomorrow when the manager gets here, I'm going to yank these boats out of the way. I could do it with a tractor, but I only want to go there. These are very pricey boats. And they've got locks in them anyway, so I don't really want to just yank them by the chains. Alright, get back to it tomorrow.